What's going on, guys? Dancing Lobster back again, and today we are going to be looking at the replay of an Offlane Doom. And this is an unranked, but he said that it was in the very high skill bracket on Dota buff, so that means the average was around 3.8k. So this is a high 3k game. And just looking at the Dota buff, I was able to see some problems right off the bat, and a lot of it is with itemization. And also, he has a lot of deaths, far more than anyone else on his team, actually. He ends up at the game with 14 deaths. Well, no, the next highest on his team is 8. And so, just looking at that already says some things like he thinks he's tankier than he is, and he's going to be called out a lot. So, I like his starting build. He's got a lot of regen, he's got a good amount of, he gives himself some armor and a stout shield. He's actually a really good creep to tank, or to E, sorry. Because Doom doesn't start with any armor, so having +5 now is much better than having no armor. So he's just kind of tanking up right now. So as this offlane, offlane role nowadays is kind of want to pick someone who can jungle. Now, luckily Doom can do that, because if the lane does get really hard, like this is a very hard lane to deal with. So because he's against a Skyrath, it depends on what he wants to do with this lane. Personally, this lane's kind of lost, or to the extent that he's here. He should just go for the Iron Talon right now, and just start farming his camp, and then coming back to the lane when it pushes. Because his lane's pushing, it's got 2 range creeps, this wave is not going to be anywhere, which means he has to be so far up in his lane. And if these supports are any good, they're just going to zone him out, especially a Skyrath. So, he should go farm that camp right now. So this is definitely a mistake right now. He's sitting around hoping that, I don't know, that the enemy team's going to mess up their pulls or something and get experience, when he could be just farming his jungle camp and getting his level 2. And once he gets like level 2 or 3, then he can maybe, probably not try and zone out just going for Iron Talon. That's good. He's a little caught out here. Let's see if he lives. He's punished. He's gonna get punished for this. So he wanted to get his Iron Talon. He wanted to get the Quelling Blade, but he tried to walk to the shop to buy, I guess, just the Quelling Blade, and he didn't even get that. So, alright, looks like he's going to jungle, and that's perfectly fine. It's a really hard lane. So, when you're an offlaner, and you're resorting to going to the jungle, once you can, you want to get a TP, so that way you can either respond to a deep dive on mid or safe lane, or if like their supports are roaming, and like their carry stops holding the lane very well, and it's pushing you tiers, you can TP and get that experience. Farm. So this Iron Talon. So Jungle Doom isn't the quickest, but it's still decent. And we're gonna see. You should be a little bit more effective would be to point jungle here, and what that is with this dire medium camp, you Quelling Blade this tree right here, and then you lure the creeps so that you're standing like right where the tree was, and then one creep is blocking here. And what this does is only one creep, assuming they're melee, is able to hit you, and the other ones which kind of be walking around. And this is so that way you're not taking damage from all of them. And it's more efficient. You won't lose as much health. So the jungle's pretty boring, and there's not that much. I'm gonna 2x speed on the jungle because it's not the most enjoyable thing to watch.
Illusion.
And there's always so much you can say about it. So he's choosing to walk back to base. Now he's got his TP. He's got 2 levels into his Scorched Earth, so he's going back to lane. I think that's alright. It's an alright decision. Gives you a good amount of regen, and the wave's pushing. Normal speed. Normally the build is to go 1-1-1, just that way if enemy supports trying to harass you, you can hit them. But Doom is low move speed, and both the enemy supports were really long range, so I think it was fine that you put the at level 3 he had 2 points in Scorched Earth. And so we're gonna kind of talk about how Doom's position in the meta has changed. And so he used to be, or when he kind of first hit the offlane role, he was like, you know, you go for the Midas, you go for the Ags, you get these really, you kind of get the Midas, so you just get this really greedy core going, and you end up kind of like just being like the super anti-carry, because that was when there was kind of like the 4 protect 1. But ever since his changes to 1, they got rid of let's see. So he gets blocked. So he needs to be cutting trees. He's got a Iron Talon he's not using. When he saw that the Lina was running around here to block him, and he was running from the Jug, what you want to do as when you're in this offlane position is you start running through here, and the Jug's going to follow you through this path, and then you cut this tree, and you just kind of walk down it around. Or you keep juking down here. Yeah. So we're going to go back to his perspective. So like I was saying, so Doom's position kind of changed when he got a few nerfs. Scorched Earth doesn't do as much move speed and all that. And also at the time you would build like in the past you would build like phase boots, and you can go like this right click build if you really needed to. But that's kind of changed because with Infernal Blade you do a lot of damage, and so your role is to pretty much stack auras depending on what their team composition is. And the idea behind him is he always has Devour to keep him up with farm. And also get the auras from the creeps. So we're gonna notice that he's building phase boots right now, which can be okay if they have a really like squishy lineup type thing, but you're never gonna out right click a Doom, or sorry, a Juggernaut. Just what I'm trying to say is like you don't need his right click damage with the phase boots or the move speed from it. Like you should rather build like drums if you need that move speed. And most Dooms nowadays are going for the arcanes or even tranquil boots, depending on what they want to do. It's not like last year. Yeah. So that was just he didn't need to go for that Infernal Blade, but didn't really accomplish much. Yeah, so most Dooms are going for either Tranquil Boots or Arcane Boots, and then some will go for the Guardian Greaves, which I think is very good. His team doesn't have, or Dying I guess could go for it, but it's going to be a late attack. So it might be could have been beneficial for him to go at, but I know he doesn't. Okay, he's fine.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
So Undying's in lane now. Jug doesn't have Omni Slash. Lina is definitely a kill they can go for. Oh, he's playing a little up without his Undying or tower.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
So we saw right there. I think he thought his Undying was coming with him, but his Undying backed off. But either way, walking around the tree line like this when your tower is so close to being dead is not smart. And look at that, he walked out way too far and then he switched paths, and it was just like, put him in a really bad position. So at this point, he's pretty far behind. Doesn't have any items, he's not 6 yet at 9 minutes in. And if I was in this situation, well, I mean, because they pushed the tier 1, the enemy wave should be pushing this tower in a pretty safe position from now on. Should kind of focus on jungling, just getting those levels back up, getting his farm up a little bit.
Radiant structures are fortified. Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Let's see if he gets a different creep. The regen creep's good if like, I don't know, you're in like a static lane, or you're just kind of getting a little harassed by the enemy and you just need that little bit extra regen. But I really like the armor creep early on with Doom. Although it's not the best here because their lineup is a lot of magical damage, and Jug is pretty much the only physical damage. But
Dire's bottom
Archer's
tower
definitely
is
good.
under attack.
So
Dire's structures
they're
are
pushing. Jug's
fortified.
really good at pushing early. He has a good amount of damage. He's got his healing ward.
Dire's
and-
bottom tower is under attack.
He has Doom, so maybe he's trying to tell his team to come, but there are things he could have done to help mitigate this push. Like if he had been
bottom
in,
tower is under
oh,
attack.
he should Doom the Jug, but
Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
sloppy. Zero control there. You get the kill.
Darkness and ignorance take you.
That was an alright fight. I think it was one of those things where he wanted his team to rotate earlier. They probably could have saved the tower. Salve, no! He might have been able to live if he salved there. So when you see a slow projectile like that coming at you and you have those 3 to 4 seconds to think, it's like running away is easy. That should be just a reflex thing. But in those like 3 seconds where you're just kind of waiting for that arcane bolt to come in, like you should be looking at your inventory and
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
looking at your inventory to see what's in your kit that you could have done to help stop that. Sometimes it's Blink Dagger, sometimes it's Force Staff, sometimes it's Salve early game.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
So you use Scorch Earth. At this point they have Healing Ward up. You should disengage. You're going way too deep. Way too deep. Oh, I just broke through that. That was funny. So he's... Looks like your team's all there. I think you should definitely be with them. Like, your auras are really important early game.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah. Doom has a really low mana pool. It's one of those things where Arcane is really helpful with that. We might see it come into effect here if he uses it. So he's chasing this Juggernaut with pretty much zero chance of killing him on his own, especially without Doom. So he sees that their whole team's here. Wait, no, I didn't go back far enough. So he sees that their whole team is here. He's chasing a lone Jug. I think one more the enemy team's there. He sees 2 there, 3 there, and he's chasing this Juggernaut right now. Now the whole team's in darkness, and he's still choosing to run uphill in this dark position. And he knows the whole team's there. Kind of poor camera. So that's definitely not a situation where you had to be in. You definitely had the map vision to know that the whole team is up this hill, and you kind of just blindly walk in. That's kind of just like a awareness type thing. So at this point, you're very far behind. You're gonna see where you go next. So it looks like you're just farming out. At this point, you have 2,000 gold and you're super far behind. I almost want to say that it wouldn't have been a terrible Midas game, just because you are so far behind, and I don't know, your team at this point kind of needs to just go late. The chances of it would either be for me at that point to go like Blink or Midas, and kind of just bank on either getting a really good Doom off or just trying to take it late. I don't know. Midas is really iffy. Sometimes it's not the answer. Sometimes it's just still lose you the game if you get it at that point. Hard call. We go either way. So your team's fighting right now. So that tells you that they have a ward up there. We're going to recamera to see where it is. Okay. Oh, don't do it, don't do it. Oh, you should have just Infernal Bladed. Could have killed him. Infernal Blade does a lot of damage against strength carry or strength heroes. Or just high HP
Radiant's
heroes.
top tower is under attack.
Be strength.
Dyer's
And
middle
I definitely
tower
would have
is under
been
attack.
killing him without using the Doom. Especially since you're maxing it over Devour. That's one of those things also, is because you're so far behind, I would have maybe liked to see
That as tribute.
on Devour instead. And also, so you went for the Buckler, and this was kind of like last patch. We saw a lot of Dooms just going for the casual Buckler. That's just due to his low armor, and then it's actually pretty good value. You get 3 armor, I think, with it, and then, or you get +5 armor, and then the cast is +2. So you know, it's 7 armor. That's really good, and it's cheap mana, and it's 100% uptime. It's actually more than 100% uptime. And so, but against their team, where pretty much only Jug doing the physical damage, I don't think it was the best item here. I actually wouldn't have gotten it. Early pipe would have done your team really good. They're pretty much all magical. Or even going for the mech and Arcane Boots, I think would have been helpful. Two teams fight, they're still farming. Hit the dude. Where the bounces. Oh. You're really far up right now and your team's not with you. All you have is an Undying, and Undying doesn't have that much
tower
fun.
is under attack.
You're going the Vanguard next, and this is kind of in the same vein as Juggernaut's the only one right-clicking you. So, Doom is just one of those heroes that, you know, you can build whatever your team needs. And I just think you kind of itemize poorly here.
Dyer's middle tower has
We're
fallen.
gonna talk about a problem you're probably gonna start having of you're not able to Doom who you want because they're too far back in the race. So you go in, running away from your team, not that terrible though. Cleaning up. Nino's probably a good target. I don't know, she was a support. She probably doesn't have that much
Radiant's
fire.
top
She has
tower
duels.
is under attack.
Phoenix might have been a better target. Jug. But yeah, your team ends up not getting the kill.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
You have your Satyr boss Shockwave and you're not using it. I would have done some good damage on Lena. I know you're a little mana, but alright, so you're Undying went back, so that's good. But instead of having these items, having like a pipe and a blink, so you can really get the Doom off on who you want, probably would have been more helpful. And also one thing, kind of, I've seen some people do this, is if you're in this position where you're so far behind, like Doom, after its nerfs, doesn't do that great of damage, and it also costs more mana, and the cooldown doesn't change, and the duration doesn't change. Oh Jesus, how hasn't Sven farmed that? It's been like 10 minutes. I had the Doom skip, level 2 Doom, just start putting more points into either Devour or Infernal Blade, depending what their build is.
Dyer's middle tower is under
Just
attack.
because The 16-second silence and item dupe is really like
Radiant's top
why
tower
Doom is so
is under
good. It
attack.
doesn't really have to do with his damage he's outputting. Unless you're ahead, then if you're ahead, I would definitely get just because he got like a really fast level 11 around like 15 minutes or whatever. I could definitely see it just because the damage is still massive head. So you're only here with a Jakiro. You don't have a tier 1 tower that your team can back you up on. They can respond to that. I think that's just a wasted Doom. You're not going to kill a Jug at this point. He's probably like level 14 or something. It's whatever. He's still far ahead. We're going to look at net worths. See, you're pretty low behind right now. Still above your G supports. Your enemy Lena's doing really well, actually. I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit more. So now you're going for the pipe, so that's good. But I think we're still gonna run into the same problem of in these late game fights when they start or not late game, but it's gonna start happening really soon. Is they're gonna start pushing your racks, and you're not gonna be able to doom who you want to. There. Unless it's like a solo pickoff, I don't think dooming Pudge is the answer in this game. Pudge doesn't really apply that much to team fights. He's good at getting those pickoffs to start a team fight, or I mean, obviously he does have some team fight presence with Dismember and Rot, but the other team, when they're all spamming their spells, or they're gonna be contributing a lot more to the fights. Oh dear. Don't. Yeah. See, doom the Pudge here. Definitely don't need to. Dooming this Juggernaut before his spin and Omni Slash are going off. Definitely. A bit more benefit. I think you actually have enough for the rest of your pipe right now. So having that before that fight would have been really good. Your team took a lot of damage from the Phoenix ult. Jug's is really big right now. So is their Lina. That looks like a situation of your team just start falling behind, and due to some poor item choices, you really couldn't, and some definitely questionable dooms. Those last two were pretty questionable. Yeah, you definitely had enough for pipe before that fight started. You definitely could have had a little bit more impact in team fights. I feel like it's just gonna be the same. See you doomed to this. Doom's up. It looks like they're. Oh no! If you doom the Pudge again, dude, I'm so mad at you. Oh no! No! Yeah, Pudge is not the person to be doing this. You gotta be looking at, you know, who's doing the most damage, who's doing the most on a team. Like even dooming Skywrath would be worth it here. Just that silence is really destroying you guys. Yeah, Lina and Jug would be my doom targets this game, or even Phoenix. But definitely not. It looks like it's just the beginning of the end. I've been thinking about getting the magic resistance aura, but it's only 5% on heroes. And I just, if we look, so that with the pipe, that puts you at 55%. And I want to look at what it says for your invoker if he has the. Okay, so he has both. Puts him at 35%. I don't know what it would be without that magic resistance aura, but I can't imagine something that much. I haven't had that much experience with that particular aura. That just looks like the end of it. So this game really came down to you could have been little bit better early game farming than jungle. You definitely could have resorted to that earlier and getting a little bit better farm. Also, I just think your itemization really cost you your game and really didn't allow you to be as effective as you could in this game. And definitely getting caught out a little bit. There were those times when we saw you way out of position without your team to back you up. And then the questionable dooms. Yeah, set you guys back. So I hope that was helpful. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. And if you want to see more videos like this, be sure to like and subscribe. It really helps me know that my videos are appreciated. So thanks for watching.